how I got a 150 win streak in Bedwars, and you can too. In this video I'm going to talk about a very simple concept which I think a lot of Bedwars players overlook, which has allowed me to get 70 plus win streaks consistently anytime I queue the game basically. Even though 70 plus win streaks are obviously not very realistic for a lot of newer players, this concept is still very simple and basically anybody can apply it to improve their gameplay, get better at the game and have more fun playing. The concept is to stop rushing. So let me explain why this works and why this is better than playing very aggressively. Attacking has a high risk with a low reward. Because when you attack a team, you lock yourself in a fight against that team. That makes you very vulnerable to other teams. Because the other teams who are not in the fight will gain time and space and resources. Being in a fight or locking yourself in a fight against another team will drain your own resources and your own ability to get diamonds and emeralds. Also, if you attack somebody, it is basically guaranteed that they will attack you back. That is basic human psychology. If you attack somebody, they will attack you back. Also, you run the risk of losing the fight, obviously. So especially if they do attack you back, then you have constant pressure on you and you are more likely to lose the fight and lose the game. Against better players, you will probably lose the fight. And against worse players, you will gain nothing, because even when you get them out, you're not really in a better position to kill the other teams, because you have allowed the other teams to get the resources you would need to kill them. So the goal is to put yourself in a superior position to win the game. Taking out other teams doesn't usually improve your position. You can get yourself in a superior position by collecting resources and information about the other players in the game and the other teams. You do not have to rush other teams to improve your position. As I said, this will only drain your resources and usually this does not give you an advantage. For example, if there are 3 teams left in the game and you are one of them. Now you attack one team, which will leave the third team to get all the resources and have all the time and space in the game, which will improve their position significantly while you're locking yourself into a fight against another team. Now, even if you do win that fight, you barely gain anything. You might get their resources from the ender chest or whatever, but really you're not improving your position and you've just given the third team the opportunity to get your bet, to get RB or whatever they want. Even for players like Duria, this very aggressive fast playstyle doesn't work. As you can see on Duria's main account now, which has over 250 stars, his FKDR is decent, though Duria is the #1 Bedwars player. It could be way better if he played more cautiously. And even for a player like Duria, playing very aggressively and quickly will just give his opponents so much opportunities to break his bet or to kill him, to surprise him. He does have another account which has an FKDR of over 1000 in solos, which just shows that if he plays more cautiously, he could get a lot better stats, and he did get a lot better stats. Basically, when rushing, there are so many things that can go wrong. Anybody I know in the community who gets high FKDRs, who gets high win streaks, they play very slowly, very cautiously and very defensively, and they do not go out and instantly rush any team. And usually these people aren't even the best mechanically, but they are very calm, they have very good game sense, and that allows them to consistently win any game. Now, this goes hand in hand with wanting to win games quickly and do things quickly, because you think that if you attack someone quickly, they will be surprised. And while that may be true, it also means that you do make more mistakes when you go quickly. You should not be afraid to play long games, because usually when you play defensively, your games will take longer, but as a result, you will also get more wins. Sometimes you also just have to let other players get resources, for example 8 emeralds for obsidian, in favor of not taking an immediate fight with them and to not anger them and play, maybe hold out the position and persist for a while. This kind of transfers to my next point, to take fights smartly. And you don't have to take any fight. Sometimes it is better to avoid a fight because, as I said, if you attack somebody, they will attack you back. So think twice before you take a fight. And if you do have to take a fight, position yourself smartly so you can win the fight. And even in fights you can play defensively. So, for example, you could hold a vantage point like high ground or whatever until you have a very good opportunity to kill your opponent or to knock your opponent off. Patience is a very key aspect to being able to win consistently. You don't instantly have to rush anybody, and often in games you don't have as much time pressure as you think you do. Being patient is often better. Anyway, winning a long fight is still faster than losing quickly, losing a fight quickly, dying quickly, having to respawn and losing all your resources. But as I said, the best fight is basically a fight you can avoid, because this will not put too much attention on you in the game. You can take the diamond gens and emerald gens that other people are not getting and stay out of their way, and slowly and quietly, so to speak, get more stacked than them. Now, the first rush is a bit different because you cannot play too defensively, but even for your first rush, many players can play so much more defensively and have a much higher success rate. Because in fights you can take your time to position yourself smartly for PvP encounters to make sure you are not losing the fight or get knocked off. You should also, for the first rush, invest in items that will help you kill your opponent, mainly by damage, because most of the fights in Bedwars are won not by knocking your opponent off, but by dealing enough damage to kill them. So buy stuff like chainmail armor, stone swords, scabs, and basically use all the resources you have for your first rush. You don't need to save resources and then die because your opponent is more stacked. Also, another kind of defensive play you can do for the first rush is to bridge a bit later than your opponent. You can watch out when he goes in the gen, when he moves, when he goes to the shop, and when he starts bridging, and bridge a bit later so you can bridge above him and knock him off. This is basically the key idea, to be patient, to watch what your enemy does, and then use your enemy's mistakes against him. Now, in later game scenarios, you will often have opponents who are very stacked, and you should not rush these opponents because you are very likely to die. You will very likely not succeed in breaking their bed and killing them. So don't push a bed you are unlikely to break anyway. You should get stacked first. And sometimes the opponent who is very stacked will push you. And then you just have to make sure you use vantage points in PvP to win the PvP fights. Or if you cannot defend your bed, you should just ditch your bed and use that time while they break your bed to get stacked or break their bed, get emeralds, diamonds and stuff. Now, I kind of have to redefine what defense means in Bedwars. For a lot of newer players, defense might mean to build a big bed defense, but that is really not what the best defense is. The best defense is to become stacked on diamonds and Ms and to get a good position in fights and in the game in general. Big bed defenses are just as easy to break, like especially if your enemy is very stacked and they kill you, even like obsidian can be broken before you can respawn. So big bed defenses just take a lot of time and resources and usually don't protect your bed well. The best bed defense in general is to use yourself to let nobody get near your base or near the space around your base, and then your bed will always be fine if nobody is able to get close to you. Also, it is more important to defend yourself over defending your bed. Your bed is not so important, especially in solos and doubles. And of course it is a good safety and you should always strive to keep your bed if you can. But if you have to let your bed go, if you have to ditch your bed in favor of not dying, then you should always do that. If somebody who can kill you in PvP because they're either better at PvP than you or a lot more stacked pushes your bed, you should be somewhere else. If you have to defend your bed at your base, that is never good because there's always a chance they might kill you. If you have to defend with a fight you are unlikely to win, you should not even be taking the fight, you should be somewhere else. This goes hand in hand with good visibility to know when somebody rushes you, and you should never be surprised that your bed is gone. You should always know where the other players in the game are. Also, if your bed is gone, you are more free and you can get more resources because you can freely move around the map. You're not tied to your base and you do not need to protect your bed anymore. So obviously you cannot play super defensively for the entirety of the game. At some point you are going to have to push other teams, but it is often better to wait until more teams are out and take less fights, because any team you attack is a chance where you can basically lose. And ideally you only take out your first rush and then wait until there's only one team left in the game, and then you are so stacked that you can easily kill them. As soon as you have an advantage over somebody, you should also use it. And this is the whole point, to playing defensively until you have an advantage and then to using the advantage. But even if you use the advantage like in fights, you can still play slowly, play cautiously and make sure you use your advantage properly and not rush into anything and make a lot of mistakes. Now, if a fight is inevitable, basically like your first rush or the last team alive, it is best to take action first, specifically in PvP fights to get the first hit in PvP. And I will talk about that more in another video, where I can explain how to win any PvP encounter in Bedwars. But usually getting the first hit is very important to winning the fight. So if you have an advantage and you know a fight is going to happen, take action first. Like as I said, if there's only one team left and you are more stacked than them, then you should go and attack them before they can get stacked themselves or get near your bed. Another thing which I want to touch on is if you push somebody and you fail, like for example you go to break somebody's bed and you fail, you die because they've defended their bed, you should reiterate if you really want to immediately push again, or maybe you want to play a bit more defensively and get more stacked until you have another good opportunity to rush them. Because often if you die to somebody, you will instantly fall into the trap of wanting to attack again, try again, and usually this fails. So if you push somebody and die, reiterate and rethink and make a new choice, because the situation of the game has changed and now you need to look at it from a different angle, and often it is good to get another advantage to get more stack before you attack again. So the bottom line of this video is basically to play defensively for as long as you can to attack with a higher success rate.